again. I'm just gonna wait till I can see that there's a viewer watching, and then I'll start engaging with the audience and talking about the UFC, which is my favourite sport of all time, and it is the fastest growing sport, that being MMA. Yeah. And I've only got 15% battery left. Damn it. I don't have much time with you guys. No one at the moment. Ask me anything. Make fun of me, I don't care. I've got thick skin. I've got very thick skin. I'm a dual citizen. I'm Australian and I'm Irish. I'm not only a convict, but I'm a terrorist. A freedom fighter. That was the worst Irish accent I've ever done. But anyway, I can talk like an Irishman if I feel like it, but I don't feel like it. It sometimes pops up a little bit with certain words, and sometimes I put it on by mistake and I don't realize it, but what can you do? Some people think it's cute, some people think it's revolting. I just think it's the way I am, and you can't change me, and if you want to change me, we're not going to get along. I'll probably beat you at a fucking debate anyway. If you want to change me, then there's something wrong with your chemical structure, because the way I am, to me, is perfect for who I am. This little bit of beard here keeps my neck warm. This little tiny amount of moustache keeps the underneath part of my nose warm, and these eyebrows are perfectly shaped to keep my eyes warm. And I've even got hairs in my nose that stop things from entering the nose, which a lot of you guys, I don't know, that watch UFC, a lot of you guys look like you in the audience when I watch you in America, that you look like you're on cocaine, like you're like, oh, it's just like, calm down, you're watching a fight, I get it, but you don't have to be like, yeah, kill him, make him bleed, like, make him bleed, fucking calm down, far out. It's a living being in that bloody octagon. Let him bloody live. Don't be like a gladiator and call for blood. It's like whenever Romero, what's his name, the steroid junkie, what's his name? Well, Brock Lesnar. Nah, I shouldn't do that. That's a bit rude. It's not rude. It's the truth. Brock Lesnar, when he was fighting Mark Hunt, was under the influence of some sort of steroid, anabolic, or otherwise, and I think that's a disgrace. I think the sport should be sued for everything they have. And I wish Mark Hunt the best of luck. Mark Hunt, you deserve a gold medal for fighting a steroid-filled monster. And I still can't believe that this is getting no views as well. And considering that the title with Conor McGregor in it, I mean, Conor McGregor, I'm gonna actually agree with what he did recently. That was that was some gangster shit. What he did, he threw. I mean, it was a bit uncalled for, and he did hurt innocent bystanders, but he was backing his friend up, and that's just a sign of a loyal man. Oh, sorry, Maggie. I'm waking my dog up, guys, just for you. And none of you even bothered to watch this. I have to plug my phone in and keep my phone very still, otherwise the phone will get ripped out of the charger. But there's certain things that you have to give up for showbiz, and one of them being sorry, I'm a bit Scheißen. Which is German for merde, which is French for shit. So, and in Irish, I'll teach you something. It's not really related to the UFC, but Pog Mahon means kiss my ass. Pog Mahon. Pog Mahon. Pog Mahon. Pog Mahon. Pog Mahon. Pog Mahon. Last time. Pog Mahon, basically, is all you have to say. And that's a way of saying kiss my ass in Gaelic, also known as the Irish native language, which was taken away from us for many years, but we now are allowed to freely use it. Irish dancing actually was created because we weren't allowed to dance using our legs, and we weren't allowed to move. So what we used to do is we'd close the lower door and we'd dance using the lower half of our body, which would be hidden by the lower door, but the upper part of the body would be still. So when the English soldiers would walk by, they'd see the people in the barn not dancing but standing still, but they were actually doing an Irish dance with the legs like up in the air and stuff. And that's because they had halfway doors which covered the legs, and that's because the English oppressed the Irish and didn't allow dancing and singing and many other things. And people would get shot for lessers of a crime, and that's the truth. That's what the British government did in many different countries. As for the UFC has become something like, it's kind of become like wrestling, which I despise. I do not like WWE. I think the acting is terrible. I think it isn't really that dangerous as much as they make it. It is quite dangerous, but UFC is a hell of a lot more dangerous. I mean, if there wasn't a referee with the octagon with those fighters, I can promise you, at each event, one person would die, because someone would go for too long and they wouldn't stop. There would be that much pent up anger and physical reactions left that they'd probably damage the person beyond repair. And that's why those referees and those umpires and whatever you call them, the people that stop the fight, that's why they're so well trained, and that's why Dana White takes it so seriously, and that's one thing I commend him for. Mario Yamasaki is an absolute twit, and he shouldn't be working for the UFC or any MMA sport in general. He doesn't take the UFC fighters' lives seriously. He thinks that women should beat each other beyond their black and blue so they can prove that they are both warriors, when one is clearly winning and can't defend another one can't defend herself from very, very heavy punches, and the fight is already clearly over. Mario Yamasaki, man, you are an idiot. I could do a better job, and oh Jesus, it wouldn't be hard to do a better job than you, Mario Yamasaki. This is out to you. I'm gonna create a new hand signal. It's called the half heart. It means how much of an effort you put into your job. You basically lean over the fight and you're like, oh yeah, no, they're right. It's like when Brock Lesnar was put up against Mark Hunt. Dana White, you disloyal scumbag. You must have known that that man was filled to the gills with steroids. Like, he was pumped. Brock Lesnar. If Brock Lesnar wasn't on steroids against the fight where he pummeled Mark Hunt, I'd be willing to give a lot of money to in donation to a charity of my choice. But I'd have to speak about this more, and we'd have to get into this more deeply. But yeah, I'm gonna make the camera get closer so I can get more personal with you. There we go. I don't have much battery left, so I'm gonna just get more personal with you guys. I train every day. I do a lot of stamina work. I've been doing a lot of stamina work lately. I have used steroids before. They had a crazy effect on me. They didn't make me aggressive, they just made me really horny and very ultra aggressive. Like if someone bumped into me, it would mean my fists would be in the air ready for a fight almost instantly. But I'd always hold myself back. But where I live, people just push and push and push. And one person in particular has been pushing me a bit too much lately and has said the wrong thing. And I'll put him to shame for that. And I want that to be on record. But it's too bad for him because he should be old enough to know not to start a fight with someone that clearly has the years above you. He's not old, but he's aged enough to should understand that you don't threaten someone like myself for no reason, when I was simply having banter with him and he couldn't handle the fact that he was getting his ass handed to him in the style of banter. It's called Irish thuggery. We rip you to shreds with our words because we don't need to rip you to shreds with our hands. We already rip you to shreds with our words. That's how powerful we are. We can already defeat you with our words instead of defeating you with violence. And you may consider that violent, but it's not. It's pacifist and it's just the way it is. But this guy didn't like it. So he came up to me the other night and he said, if you ever do that again, I'll knock you out. And I said, do what again, mate? And he said, talk behind my back. And I said, mate, I was making fun of you behind your back. Don't change this story. And he said, well, I'll knock you out. And I said, alright. He didn't do anything. He didn't knock me out. And I continued to tell other people that this guy is an absolute fruitcake and that he needs to be fucking taken very seriously, because one day he's going to actually try and knock someone out and he's going to realise that he's in the biggest world of hurt. He's going to get thrown to the ground by someone that's a seasoned wrestler or seasoned in the martial art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and has been doing it for many years, and is going to get him in a choke lock and not let go and hold on for an extra long period of time to the point where it makes him look like an embarrassment, or maybe even break his elbow, or I think, yeah, break his elbow and embarrass him, and it would be incredibly easy. I'm not saying I'm a black belt at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I'm not saying I'm a wrestler that competes, but like I've got things up on the wall for fighting and doing boxing. My family, pretty much gypsies. I'm Brandon. I'm Irish. We fight. We're Irish. Fuck. This is what we do. We go into your countryside and we take over your town. We take your crown, and we become the kings. Or I become the king, and I slay you, and I take your horse, and I ride your horse away back to my clan and tell them of the impending victory. And also warn them that if a man is to threaten someone with the brutal form of punishment, which is a knockout, he should be able to back it up with something and be able to say he had a good reason to say that. But this man that is aged and should know better didn't. I think that's kind of sad, and maybe he'll watch this at some stage. But I hope he knows that he didn't threaten someone that is thick or someone that can't handle a punch. I mean, for Christ's sake, I've had a hell of a lot worse happen to me. And if you're a regular viewer of mine, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I've been through hell. I've got PTSD for a reason. I'm not going to get into it on this video log, but let's just say it would be one elbow to good night, or even a knee, and then another knee, and then the Muay Thai clinch, and I would rain down knees on your head like you've never felt before. But that's only if you fucking contacted me first. And you wouldn't contact me first. You would skim me, and then I'd react. But anyway, let's talk about something else, because this is upsetting my dog. She's having a nightmare now, for Christ's sake. She's worried that a boy, or a man. See, now I'm acting cocky, because I'm talking about this UFC stuff. UFC is changing. Conor McGregor made the UFC what it is today, and people give him shit constantly now, and people just talk shit non-stop, and they're always the most salty people who have like the shittest lives, and the not shit lives, I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. Everyone that I've noticed in my Facebook that talks shit about him is either extremely underwhelming in the let's say looks factory, or has very little to offer in way of his own fighting skill. Like, has no karate championship medals or anything, or has no Muay Thai head rest, like, has no I forgot the name of them, oh my god, has no headlamps or whatever you call them in your part of the world, has no knots, has no black belt, has no Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, has no karate black belt, has no judo black belt, has no, or purple belt, or any form of colour belt. And the problem with one-dimensional fighters, especially, which this man is that threatened me at the pub recently, is that if I wanted to, I could destroy you within 30 seconds, and I could get away with it completely legally, because you threatened me and you threw the punch and it contacted me, but I made it contact me in such a way that it would miss me but skim me, but give me the same right to get you back and knee you and get you in a Muay Thai clinch and knee you until you were left unconscious, or at least in a paralytic motion heading towards the ground, and I'd probably try and stop your head from hitting the ground because I care about you, because I don't like fighting. I hate fighting, but when someone threatens to knock you out, you kind of got to stand up for yourself. So now I've been training daily again, and I'll be faster than him. I've got youth, I've got speed, I've got accuracy, and I've got a lot of power in my right hand. But I can also use my left hand, but I don't use my left hand as much as I should. But when I do, it's very quick, and it's a jab that stuns and wobbles and confuses the fighter, which a jab is really meant to do. A jab isn't meant to knock anyone out, but if your jab does knock someone out, you've got yourself an incredible fighter. And that fighter would be Conor McGregor. He turned his jab into a knockout punch, because I believe I might be wrong. I believe he started off as an orthodox boxing fighter, and then he started using his left hand, and he realized his left hand was the knockout blow. And that's what a lot of southpaws begin as. They start using their left hand a bit more, and they realize, wow, I can actually get more hip into this. And by the way, always put your hip in your bum. Use your bum cheeks. Put your body into that punch. You turn, and you want to twist, and you want to put your body into that punch. Twist your whole body. Make sure you use your ass and everything you've got in your shoulders to get that punch and get it moving through the air to the target. And you want to keep your fists like that, your thumb like that, or like that. Never put your thumb inside your hand, because it might break your thumb, and it will break your thumb, trust me. The reason is because when you've got your hand like this, your thumb is now in a bad state, a bad place to be located. When you punch, your hand can, it's very hard to explain actually. It's just it's not a good way to punch. Never punch with your thumb inside your hand unless you're slapping them like with a palm punch. But if you're gonna palm someone, use this part of your hand. Oh god, I have to show you like this. This is probably very embarrassing for me, because I don't know the most about this stuff, but I've got cousins that are champions in karate, and a cousin that's also very high up in boxing, has won medals, gold medals in the Olympics. You use this part of your hand, all that part there, especially this part, and you build it up by practicing on the wall every day. And if you use that enough, you can just go, not like that, but you use that motion and you put your whole body behind it, and you slap right where the ears are with both hands, like you're slapping the head. I'll show you what I mean. Like you're going like this on the other person's head, but like that. You go like that. You can knock someone out. You can knock someone out right cold. And the reason for that is it knocks the cerebellum out of balance in the head. When you slap someone with both of the palms, and both palms hit and reach the head at the same time, it sends the cerebellum in the opponent's head off balance, and it actually makes it snap for a split second, and that's what puts a person into a concussive state. That's why when you punch someone, it's best to punch someone and whip your punch, because you want your punch to whip and make to hit the jaw and the lower jaw. And that's why you should always keep your jaw tucked when you're boxing, don't keep your jaw hanging out like this, because that's asking for someone to connect with it. You can do that if you're trying to lure a punch and try and open up for a counter, which is very smart, which is what Conor McGregor did to Jose Aldo. Conor McGregor, in fact, smiled just before he knocked out Jose Aldo. If you watch very carefully, he lured him in like he was fishing. He smiled just before he punched Jose Aldo, and then he opened up with the left counter hook, which he'd been practicing all night, right next to Jose Aldo. I'm pretty sure, or at least very close to him, because they don't have much room to practice. And seeing Jose Aldo afterwards was pretty crushing for me, because he was in fact my favourite fighter before finding out that Conor McGregor had entered into the UFC, because I like myself a stand-up fighter. I think stand-up fighting in UFC is some of the most spectacular martial arts in the world, and you've got people like Royce Gracie, who are amazing on the ground, but it just doesn't interest me. It interests me quite a lot, and I have a ton of respect for it, but I have a lot more respect for people that can, like Mark Hunt, that can knock someone out with one punch and hardly put any effort into it and just walk away and know that they've put that person to sleep, and they can just walk away like Mark Hunt does. If you don't believe me, look up Mark Hunt, king of walk away knockout. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I've tried to make a couple of these live videos, and I don't think anyone's watching them. It's pretty much failure after failure for me. It's kind of like dating for me lately. The girls have been really difficult. Like, come on girls, be easy on me, be nice. Like, let me ask you for your number and not be so harsh with the response. Maybe respond with a little bit of, oh yeah, alright, I'll give you my number. But if I give you my number, will you call me every day and tell me that I am beautiful? Because that's all I want to hear. And sorry, I just wanted to do the fake Irish accent. And it, you know what, one thing, it pisses Irish people off the most out of anything that Americans do, is the fake Irish accent, because you can't do it for shite, and the way I do it right now, it's awful, but that's because I'm used to hearing it for real, and to me the Irish accent is natural, so it's very hard for me to fake it, but I can kind of put on a little bit of a fake accent, but it sounds more British if anything. My accent is Australian, but people also always say, "Oh, you sound like an Englishman." Don't fucking say that, because that's a real rude thing to say to an Irishman, and I have. I'm not proud of it. I have hit people with the fist for calling me a pommy. And I regret it completely. It was years ago, but someone called me oh, you pommy bastard, or something like that, and I said, I'm not pommy, I'm Irish, and he said, oh yeah, my ass, bullshit, and I just went bang, and I was drunk, and he was drunk, and yeah, it just didn't end up very well. I broke his lip, and I broke his nose, and that's not good. That's ruining two people's nights, because not only is that person going to end up going to hospital and getting his nose fixed and put into position, you also get yourself in trouble, and the police find out that you're an aggressive person, and whenever they see you on the street, they think, should we pull him over and find out if he's been in any local fights, and ask him if he's beaten up anyone lately, and see if he tries to tell the truth or lies to us, because that's what they start to think. They start to think you're a criminal. I'm going to be honest, I've done things in the past that were bad, but I've changed my life around, and I've worked hard to get where I am today. But I went through a hell of a lot of trouble to get to where I am, and I will never let someone threaten me. And unfortunately, recently I was threatened by someone in the pub, and now it's my life's goal to avenge what was said, and actually not hurt him, but put the fear of God into him, at least for what he did. Maybe use some guerrilla warfare tactics, more like talking. I know how to scare people with just a faint threat, but a threat made well. That's not a threat, but a promise, and something that you promise you will fulfill, and it's your destiny to fulfill. And if you don't fulfill it, you don't think you're living. And that's the way I think of it now, because he did it in front of everyone, and then he boasted about it afterwards, and that's what he claimed I did, and that's why he said he knocked me out, and he did exactly what he accused me of. And that's, if you're watching, is a dog act, and that's why I will either choke you out, knock you out, or deck you in front of all your friends if you ever do that to me again. But I'm going to get you to apologise to me for what you did, or I'm going to end up at your front door, and I'm going to end up getting you to throw a punch at me, and you're going to miss, and you're going to get knocked out. I promise. I fucking promise. You'll aim for there, you'll go around there, and you'll hit me, my chin will go in. You can see my nose has been broken quite a few times. It's not a good looking nose. His nose is like perfect, and he's got like a perfect jaw, and he's got no scar tissue on his eyes, and he's got the perfect stomach. He doesn't have a scar there at all. He's just a typical Australian, like, oh, I'm gonna start a fight with this young dual citizen who doesn't look like he's been through anything in his life, obviously. I'm going to take him for granted, and in the meantime, I'm going to find out what it's like to get a living hell rush of punches thrown at my head, or kicks, or what I was going to use, knees. I could say a lot more. I could say his name, I could get a photo of him up, and I could say, look, for threatening me in public, I'm getting you back by posting this, and I'm going to post the video of it on YouTube of me doing this to you. But I don't believe in that. I believe in karma. I believe if I did that, it would eventually happen to me, in one way or another. I simply want him to apologise. But the only reason I'm saying this is because in the UFC, there is such a thing as karma. And unfortunately, I'm a fan of Conor McGregor, but I think he's really, really pushing karma's buttons, and he's going too far, and he's pushing his luck. And I think he could get banned very soon from fighting for a long time. He badly injured 2 fighters, technically. He didn't really hurt them that badly. He gave one an eye injury and gave the other a cut, and they made it seem like it was the end of the world and they couldn't fight. And this guy that was on my Facebook commented, but it caused the end of 2 fights. You're an idiot, Brandon. You don't know what you're talking about. this guy has just read this on the news and believes everything he's fucking reading. He's just some fucking kid that's been through nothing in his life, and his parents bought him his own fucking like car when he was like 18, and he's this blonde, like, South African yuppie kid that's grown up in Peppermint Grove in Perth, which is $1 million housing area. I've got no respect for him at all. He's been through nothing in his life. He's never been hurt. Well, he has been hurt, but by people like criminals that I unfortunately know of, and he's embarrassed by that, so he chooses to talk shit online now, and he hides behind his gated apartment complex, which his parents pay for, which is kind of embarrassing. Or at least I know you had help from your parents paying for it, and I think that's appalling. Especially when you have no reason and you went to university and they paid for your university as well. Like, Jesus Christ, dude, you're a yuppie. You don't need. You can afford to pay for the university, but you're making your fucking poor parents, not poor parents, rich bastard ass parents pay for the shit, and they're just so dumb like you are, and they pay for it, and you learn nothing, and you go to uni and you just take the shit, like you take the shit at your private school that you didn't get a scholarship into, you paid to get into, and you never made friends with any of the scholarship kids because you were envious of them, or you were racist, or you got hurt by one of them, or one of them made you look really stupid. And my best mate did that to quite a few people, and he whooped quite a few people, and his other Indigenous friend bashed the teeth in of someone that talked shit just before I left Perth, and it's interesting that he waited till I left Perth to talk shit. But come at me, motherfucker, when I'm back in Perth. Call me a faggot when I'm in Perth, and see what happens. I promise you, mate, you won't be standing for longer than the end of that sentence. It will be a last fucking warning, and this is my last warning to you. You think you know people? I know the people that control the people that you are a part of. I know people that would put that group into fucking jeopardy. I'm not joking, mate. And chuck you out there, because our time will come, and my time will come one day, and I'm well armed with these and other weapons. I'm always watching. I've actually got a camera in the background that I've just set up, and it's got a good view of my driveway, so if I ever see someone coming at me, an enemy coming at me, and I see that they've got something in their hand like a weapon, I can get my 22 lever action scope, aim for the eye, or aim for the triangle area, being the throat and the upper chest, for a kill shot. It would either kill you or drop you onto the ground, and I don't think you'd know what to do if you were shot, mate. Seriously, you'd cry like a bitch, and if you got shot, you would. And it's funny because when you know what it feels like, you've got a bit of an advantage. When you don't know what it feels like, you have no idea in hell how painful it fucking is until you've fucking been through it, mate. So yeah, you should stop talking shit. Yeah. Anyway, I think that I've covered that subject, but yeah, stop threatening people on Facebook, and stop calling them people faggots when they leave a state. Wait till they're in the state to talk shit. It looks better on your part every time, trust me. Because everyone just thinks you're a fucking loser now that hides behind his words and waits till a person leaves the state to talk shit. Who does that? A pussy. And we don't want to see your teeth get moved into the back of your mouth again, do we? No. Don't get yourself confused. If you think I'm talking about you, and this is a similar story, I'm not talking about you. This is a very particular person, and I can remember exactly what he said, and he'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And there's nothing he can do that scares me. He can threaten all he wants, but if he brings up a certain thing that I know he'll bring up, I'll bring up the fact that it's not completely real, and that if it's not earned, and it's not real, and it's not certified by an official member, that I'll get members of an opposition club that hate with a vengeance people like you, and will hunt you down and kill you. Well, not kill you. They'll do something very, very, very close to it. I mean, I know mongrel mob people, I know all sorts of people, but they'll make you look like a fucking idiot for pretending to be something you're not. And it makes me angry that you're doing that. Yeah, stop pretending to be something you're not, mate. You've had it pretty good. You pretend like you've had it really rough, but you've got a good looking missus, and she treats you well. And I think you got a kid now or some shit. Yeah, why don't you act like that? Why aren't you looking after the kid? Whenever I go to a friend's house that has kids, I just become completely silent, and I become like a parent. I start looking after them. I start like entertaining them and making the child feel comfortable, because I enjoy being around kids, but not for too long. And that's why I don't have a kid. I think Conor McGregor messed up by having a kid at such a young age, but it could also make him fight better. It could make him fight worse. Having a child has serious repercussions on your health. You lose a massive amount of sleep, and sleep is a loss of focus. If you lose that loss of focus that he has, which he used in the Jose Aldo knockout, he could potentially lose all of his fights from now on. So this is coming from a fan of Conor McGregor. I think he's one of the most dynamic and dangerous strikers in the MMA game today, especially at his weight class. But for the fact that he can move up and drop someone like Nate Diaz, who has some of the toughest striking defense in the game and boxing skills, like Nate Diaz is not a joke. He can take the biggest punches, and he was getting knocked down. I'm surprised the referee didn't stop that fight, because Nate Diaz was getting dropped over and over, and it was embarrassing. If you call that dropping on purpose, then why did you drop on your ass and then go back into missionary position? Missionary position, laying on the ground like a woman, is not winning a fight. And for you to wait in the jiu-jitsu position is your sign of weakness to his striking. He beat you up on the striking game in the second fight. He may have run, but he did that to make you run, and you chased him. You chased him like a gazelle, but he didn't act like a gazelle. He acted like a lion. When you tried to turn him into a gazelle, he lashed at you like a lion. And that's about all I have to say. get some good sleep. My medication that I take for sleeping is just kicked in, so I'm gonna try and get some sleep now. But I hope you guys keep safe, and I hope what I've said doesn't hit any heartstrings or cause any trouble. I just hate people that talk shit, and I hate people that cause trouble, and I could go out and get or get the rifle over there, and or go to the neighbours and get the shotgun and go get revenge the old school way. But I've moved on a hell of a lot from the last few years, and I've experienced things that people never will experience in their lives, and have to experience in their lives to understand where I'm coming from. I've changed my life, and maybe if you pay attention to what I say, I can change yours. The UFC is a good example and a good role model for kids to look up to, because it teaches you about technique, passion, and love of the sport, and ultimately surrendering your body to martial art, and having respect for the other fighter and your own person. It usually means that kids get into less fights. If you have a kid, get your kid into karate or taekwondo or judo. I'd suggest judo and karate. It's a very good mix. Or taekwondo and boxing, because then you learn good kicks with good punching power. Kickboxing is great, but Muay Thai is a lot more strenuous, and it makes you a lot more fit, because it's naturally a much more high intensity fight style, and the training involves bamboo trees that get kicked over and over. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say for now. Good night for people that are in a night situation. Good morning for good morning people. Good afternoon for good afternoon people. And sayonara, goodbye, and peace to everyone else. I hope you're all safe. Love you all. Bye. Oops, didn't finish it. Yes, I want to start now.